I'm here today to share one of my family's favorite recipes, Southwest chicken. It's a great recipe because you do it all in one fry pan and it's got all the things people love. Chicken, lime juice, jalapenos, chili powder, corn, cheese. It's amazing. So I'm going to get started with the few things I have to prep here, and I'll start with chopping up some garlic. This goes in when we start cooking up the chicken. So this is a great recipe for your family. It's wonderful served with rice, or you can serve it with fresh tortillas or homemade naan bread or homemade pita. Freezes really well, which is always nice. You can make a big batch and then freeze it for another day. So I'm going to get this garlic chopped up. Doesn't have to be super fine. You're going to cook it down. There we go. And we're going to put just one jalapeno in this recipe today, but if you like things super spicy, definitely add a second. These are jalapenos from my garden, and they're very spicy. So I'm going to take the seeds out, because just that's where all the heat, it's in the seeds and the ribs. So we want to make sure that you're taking that out if you're trying to avoid it being too hot. And we're just going to chop that. So that's just one jalapeno. So now onto the limes. We need about 3 tablespoons of lime juice, and I'm going to use a press for that. And I have this nice press. One of my tips for juicing limes, at least with this press, you want to slice the ends off and then cut it in half. And when you put it in the press, this press, it really gives a good amount of juice. So I find that helps to slice the ends off. There's 3 tablespoons of lime, and I'm going to save my other lime here because we're going to use that when we serve the dinner. It's really nice with a little fresh lime squeezed over top. What we're using in this recipe is skinless, boneless chicken thighs. You want to cut them down into just chunks, not bite-sized pieces. What I usually do is cut them either in half or in thirds. So they're about that size. So if they're really big, in fourths. So you're just cutting them simply, not a big fancy deal. Just so they're all a similar size. So when they cook, they're all cooking at the same rate. That's the important thing, that they're all the similar size. And we're cooking this in a cast iron frying pan, and it's going to go under the broiler. So whatever pan you use, make sure you can put it under a broiler. So there's the chicken, and I'm going to just put this away in the sink and give my hands a wash. Once the chicken's all cut up, you're going to dump it into a bowl. And I have in here the spices. It's going to flavor this to make it Southwest. So we're starting with chili powder, cumin, salt, and pepper. So I'm going to just give that a quick stir, and then it is going in with the chicken. And we'll give that a good toss. Okay, that looks great. So what we're going to do is we're going to the pan. So we are ready to get going, and we have our chicken all in the spices, and we have to dredge it in flour. And the reason we do that is just protects the chicken a little bit and helps thicken our little sauce later. So don't do the dredging of the flour ahead of time because the chicken gets all gummy. So I have the chicken ready to go. I'm just going to quickly dredge it and throw it in the pan. We started with 2 tablespoons of butter in the pan, and I melted it first and heated the pan up well. And the other thing to remember is not to crowd the pan too much. Try and let there be a little bit of space around the chicken, and don't be afraid to have some heat to it. Don't cook it on a low temperature. You want to make sure that it's sizzling, and definitely over medium, because you want to get a bit of color on the chicken, because if you see color, that means flavor. So make sure you're not doing it on too low a temperature. This looks like it's ready to flip. We've got good color on that. Look at the crispy edges. And we're going to flip that. Oh, look at that one. Looks great. And that's the thing too, there's always hot spots in your pan. So if the ones in the middle are getting a little too dark, just flip them and switch them with ones on the side. So we're not looking to completely cook the chicken at this point. This is about browning and getting flavor. There's time later on that it all cooks together. And then we'll come and start the base of the sauce and all the other ingredients. Something I wanted to point out too is if you have someone in your family who's gluten-free, you can definitely just use gluten-free flour for the dredging part, and it turns out just fine. All right, so now I'm gonna add last tablespoon of butter. I'm gonna add in our jalapeno, a cup and a half of corn niblets, and you can either use frozen, which these are. I just thawed them out a little bit. Or you could use a can of corn, whatever you have. Now that the pan's cooled off a bit from these, I'm gonna add the garlic. Always be careful with garlic. You don't wanna burn garlic, and I just let the pan cool off a little bit. And we're gonna add half a teaspoon of salt. So we're just gonna stir that, and we're gonna let that corn get a little bit of color on it, because like I said, for the meat, color means flavor. We're gonna let that cook for 2 or 3 minutes. I have a little bit of color on the corn now, and I want to now add back the chicken and any juices that have accumulated. We're going to add our 3 tablespoons of lime juice. I have a teaspoon and a half of oregano. In the summer, I use fresh oregano, and if you're using fresh, you want to use a couple of tablespoons of fresh. And this is 1.5 teaspoons of dried, and 3/4 of a cup of water. So now that we've got everything in here, we're going to let this simmer away for about maybe 5 minutes to finish cooking the chicken, because remember, we were browning the chicken, we weren't fully cooking it, and we're gonna let that simmer. And the other thing what I wanted to let you know was, if you're not a person who likes to eat corn, I've made this when I didn't have any corn by using peppers, red, yellow, and orange peppers. Just dice them up, and when you add the corn in, I added the peppers in, and it's really good. So don't worry if you don't have corn, you can substitute peppers in, or I'm sure it would work with
potatoes.
You could use potatoes. Doesn't that look good, Ty?
Amazing.
Okay, I've been simmering here for about 5 minutes, and I'm just gonna use my thermopen to check the temperature, make sure that our chicken is over 165. Yeah, 175, we're good. So now you've heard of gilding the lily. So what we're gonna do is put on, turn the temperature off, or turn the burner off, and we're gonna sprinkle the top with a little bit of cheddar cheese. So I have about a cup of grated cheddar here. And we're gonna just put that on and put it underneath the broiler and get the cheese melty and bubbly, and then it's time for dinner. So it's under the broiler now, and we're gonna watch it carefully, but it takes about 2 or 3 minutes only to get that cheese nice and bubbly. So we've been under the broiler here for about 3 minutes. Oh my goodness. Ooh, look at that. So there you go. Southwest chicken, and serve it with rice, some fresh lime, or wraps, fresh pita, whatever you want. But tonight we're having it with rice and fresh lime, so enjoy.